Hello everyone and welcome back to Affinity for Commander. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be taking a look at the latest entry into Commanders for tribes that approximately 6 people are asking for. Now that's not fair, Mere Trouble does actually have a surprisingly large amount of support. But just before we get on to the video, if you do in fact like any of the cards I'm going to talk about here, or even wish to purchase the full deck list for yourself, then be sure to do so through any of our lovely affiliate links in the description box below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it really helps the channel out a lot. Now, on to some artifact goodness. Urtet, Remnant of Memnarch is a 2/2 legendary creature artifact mirror for 3 generic mana and... Wait, hold on a second. Like, is it mirror or mer? Or like, mer? What do you mean you don't know? Look, it's fine. I'll change it throughout so I'm right at least once. No, it's fine. Whenever you cast a Mer spell, you create a 1/1 colorless MYR artifact creature token. At the beginning of combat, untap each MYR you control. And for Wooburg and tap, put 3+1/+1 counters on each MYR you control, activate only during your turn. So the aim of the deck is quite simple. You play a bunch of low-cost MYRs, and then get Urtet out, pay his ability, and then smash everyone in the face with your massive artifact creatures. But even without the counters, being able to untap all of your mana-producing MYRs is a massive jump in mana available to us in our turn. So let's start at the low end of our curve, where most of our MYRs are. Uninspired perhaps, but you do kind of have to run copper, gold, iron, lead, and silver mirrors. If anything, they're the cornerstone of the deck, ramping, triggering Urtet once they're out, and generating the coloured mana both for fixing in our 5-color deck, and also for Urtet's ability. There are also other creatures for a ramp, but they're just not for cold one. Mer Convert and Plague Mir both offer up the chance to infect our opponents out, as does Ironclaw Mir. But importantly, the former two can also tap for mana to get more of our little miracles of machinery out. We are, however, running 2 non-Mir creatures at the 2-drop slot in Steel Overseer for the addition of even more counters for our creatures, and Metallic Mimic, who becomes a Mir on the battlefield but lacks the Changeling keyword. But again, like the Overseer, does add more counters to grow our small creatures into genuine threats. And due to the fact that we are a creature-based deck with the desire to win through combat damage, then Boros Charm and Heroic Intervention are needed to ensure our board stays exactly where it is, swinging sideways at our opponents. Moving on to the 3-drop slot, we've got more mirrors in Alloy and Palladium Mirror for more ramp. Knighted Mirror to make for a dangerous attacker when the counters start flowing. Mer Galvanizer to serve as a lord and meaningful untap for either abilities or just better blockers. Mir Welder to get any abilities we need from artifacts already gone to the grave. Shimmer Mir because we're playing everything with flash is always just good fun. And finally, Mir Propagator. A generally okay card to make us some more token friends, but can also win the game for us with a little workaround. The Propagator plus Intruder Alarm means that when we generate a token, we untap the Propagator to do it again. All we need for this to work is to have 3 mana producing creatures in play as well, not something that is really a problem for us. As many tokens as you want to overrun everyone, and giving them haste is all the better. Also at the 3-drop slot, we've got some honorary Mirs in Tauren Mauler, a potentially huge threat even without Urtet's counters. Realm Walker, who can hopefully give us some card advantage by playing the top card of our library. And finally, Mirror Entity. A great use of all that mana we've been producing to make all our tiny robots into swole beatsticks. Now onto the 4-drop slot, we've got our penultimate Mir in Mir Kinsmith, a tutor who can fetch up our combo piece, or maybe just the mana one that we're missing to round off our colours. But we've got a load of support for our tribe in Distant Melody to hopefully draw a load of cards, and Masquerade Nexus to make even more Mir tokens for us. Plus, we're also essentially an artifact deck, so having Jihoria Weatherlight Captain and Vidalcan Archmage are really going to be super helpful in allowing us to draw out our deck, along with cards like Padim, Council of Innovation, to give our creatures hexproof to prevent any of that nasty removal, and will hopefully be drawing us an additional card a turn. And because we're essentially playing Artifact Tribal, we can then also utilise cards like Phyrexian Scriptures, a great board wipe for us, and then just mass Grave Exile for 4 mana. Storm the Vaults is a great mana accelerant with treasures, but more importantly, flips into Vault of Catalacan, a version of a card that is literally banned in this format, and for good reason. And the last 2 cards I want to mention are Spark Double, because doubling up Urtet is a great way to get 2 activations of his ability by activating it in response to the untap of his other self, provided of course we've got the mana among creatures we control. And finally, Paradoxical Outcome, because not only does this save our low cost value MYRs from board wipes, it can just be a way of drawing a bunch of cards and then replaying our hand by making sure we floated our MYR worth of mana before bouncing everyone. Now, obviously you don't want to be doing this if your board is swole with counters, but if the choice is between losing your board to a Wrath of God or draw a bunch of cards and return everything to hand, I know which I'd rather go for. At the highest end of our curve, we've got more tribal goodness in MYR Matrix, an Anthem Effect and Token Generator, MYR Turbine, another Token Generator, plus Potential Tutor, MYR Battle Sphere not only brings friends, but can also just be some good damage getting in with their attack trigger, and MYR Enforcer should be realistically cast for only 2 mana, but I'm not knocking a 4/4 with a relative creature type. Reflections of Lich Jawar is honestly also very needed here. Being able to make doubles of our little guys to have a bigger board state to eventually start pumping is so exceptionally on theme. Alibaru, Ancient Witness, and Bruticlad Telco Engineer are 2 cards I sincerely hope we have during our Intruder Alarm combo shenanigans to then be able to swing out with them due to the haste they enable. But even if not, the damage Alibaru is able to deal is great for removal, as it only cares about tapped artifacts, even if they've been tapped for mana during the turn. That way we can attack with 1 small flyer, but use the MYRs for mana, and then boom, we get to bolt something by just attacking with a creature. And Bruticlad is just a good means of token generation, turning our 1/1s into far better 2/1s. Now, the last few cards at the tippity top of our curve are Forsaken Monument, a great way for giving us a double Anthem effect for our colorless creatures, but also gives us life gain, and whilst we don't have that many mana producers that produce us colorless, the few that do will definitely appreciate this card. And finally, All is Dust, a great 7 mana board wipe that gets rid of literally anything with a color in it. All permanents are sacrificed, so it gets around indestructible and hexproof. Everything has to go. Now onto the lands of the deck. Now we are 5 colours, so fixing is kind of super important. However, we do have a large amount of colorless creatures, especially our artifact creatures, which means we do get away with being able to run a few colorless producing lands. Cards like Academy Ruins to put any of our high value artifacts from our grave back on top of our library to be drawn later. Buried Ruin is also the same, however it gets it back to hand, but it does come at the cost of sacrificing the land. Inventor's Sphere is a small tick up of life for us, plus a late game shooter. And Cascading Cataracts is, yes, a colours producer, but then can completely fill out our colours later on when we need it, or are unfortunately relying on lands for our Urtet's ability, which, no thanks, but, needs must. Overall, Urtet is a big smashy 5-colour deck that's just been put through the lens of MYRs. The deck's idea and concept are really consistent and overall easy to get with. Play out a bunch of MYRs, play Urtet on turn 3, then start using his ability to generate more mana, and eventually start just activating his ability on every one of your turns, making your board massive. And the fact that he just untaps them generally with no other prerequisites means you do essentially get double the mana you would normally have from creatures. Tap them all, play something on your main phase 1, go combat, maybe don't attack, and then you just have your additional mana on your main 2. Seems good to me. The deck, however, comes with a caution. You need draw. It is way too easy to just drop your handful of low-cost MYRs and then play Urtet, and then get completely blown out by one set of the wreckage, left with no cards in hand, and only a commander to just replay on your next turn and be super sad about it. So make sure you play those draw effects, make sure you trigger them as often as possible. Urtet is the MYR commander that people have always wanted and asked for, even with these randomly good MYR tribal cards to help support it. And I look forward to them continuing this cycle of giving us good 5-colour commanders for underserved tribes. Just here's hoping Beast Tribal finally gets their turn soon. Hopefully. Eventually. Please. And that'll be it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. What cards are you excited for the MYR Tribal Commander? Whatever your thoughts, leave them in the comments below. We read every single one. As always, every piece of Affinity for Commander content is made possible thanks to the support of our amazing patrons. You guys are truly awesome. If you too like to become a patron of the channel and access to exclusive EDH-related rewards, then be sure to check out our link in the description box below. You can, however, support the channel in a number of easy ways, liking this video, subscribing, sharing it, and commenting below. But as always, guys, that'll be it from me. My name is Alex, and I will see you next time.